Harris, thank you. As the UN Security Council works to come up with a response to North Korea's missile launch, there is another growing concern here in the United States. The North Koreans are one step closer to developing a long-range rocket capable of hitting America. How worried should we be? Joining us now, Lieutenant General Henry Obering. He is the former director of the Missile Defense Agency in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. Some people are saying that this test was a real bust because the missile never made it to space, couldn't deliver its payload, and instead splashed down in the Pacific. How do you assess it?
Well, John, I think that you have to put that in context. If you go back to 2006, when the North Koreans launched 7 missiles, including the first attempt at the Taepodong-2, 6 of those missiles, the shorter to medium-range missiles, were very successful. They were very accurate, and they were very reliable, apparently, with their test. The long-range missile at that time failed about 40 seconds after flight. In this case, the missile flew for over 15 minutes. They went through a significant staging event in terms of dropping the first stage from this very large missile and controlling the missile through that staging event. Well, it did end up in...
Go ahead.
It did end up in failure, so in terms of trying to get a satellite into orbit, that did not succeed. But in terms of what they demonstrated and the fact that they're continuing to advance is something I think we have to pay very close attention to.
So you don't necessarily feel that just because this thing splashed down in the Pacific, you don't think it's a bust?
I think it was a bust in terms of not getting their satellite to orbit, but in terms of where they are with their missile program, I think it shows North Korea's dogged determination that they want to have longer and longer range missile capability. And when you think about that this was done in light of intense international pressure and sanctions, that they continue to do this, I think that for the U.S. to rely solely on diplomacy or sanctions alone would be folly. I think we have to be prepared to defend ourselves and our allies against these emerging threats for this century, and that's why I think the missile defense system has been so critical and is so important to our future.
Well, talking about defending ourselves, I mean, apparently the Pentagon was watching this thing, ready to shoot it down, apparently opted not to do so. Why?
Well, first of all, the system is designed not to enter spacecraft. There's actually safeguards built into the system that we do not do that. And second of all, we would not intercept a missile like this unless it was going to impact in a defended area, and that's the way the system is set up. So if there was not an impact, as in this case, there was no impact into a defended area, there would be no reason, no attempt to shoot it down.
All right. Lieutenant General Henry Obering, formerly from the Missile Defense Agency. Thank you.
And our